Hi, everyone. Welcome back, class 9. So only one more to go after this. I hope you're having a good week. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about being mindful of our thoughts, right? We discussed how they arise without our permission, how we can't stop them, and how we get kind of manipulated around them, right? But by being mindful, we have some distance from the story. Well, today I'm going to kind of expand on that actually and talk about being mindful of our emotions. So, because they're really similar to thoughts in the sense that we can't stop them, they arise without our permission, and yeah, they can cause us to act out. They can be powerful, like thoughts, and change our mood. So powerful that we can either get overwhelmed with them or we can act out in ways that we don't want to. So, again, they're one of those things that we can use mindfulness to help us manage. And I'm talking mostly about the difficult emotions. So, like, the anger, the sadness, the anxiety, that type of thing. Okay, so let me share my screen here so we can see what we have to say about emotions. Okay, so first of all, I'm just giving you a whole set. Now, this is a fraction of a list. And so, I used to talk my own self about my emotions. Yeah, how do you feel? I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm happy. Like, I only have 3 words, but to know more words for how you feel is just really empowering. And so, because some things don't really name how it is you feel. So, like the difference between alone and lonely, that kind of thing. So, the more words you know, this is just a fraction of a list. But if you go online and Google list of emotions and see all the different ones, you can see that actually we're complex beings and we feel in many different ways. And just having the words to articulate how we feel is really helpful a lot of the time. So, learn more about your emotion in terms of what types there are. Okay, so here's some facts about emotions. First of all, they're neither good nor bad. A lot of times we think that, being angry is bad and being happy is good. We really need to remove that judgment, because emotions are just like thoughts, like breathing. There's something that happens to us as humans, right? We don't really control them. Like I said, they arise without our permission. And actually, they have a function. Back to our ancestors' days, the function was to help us focus our attention and motivate us toward a specific course of action or goal, right? So, like this dog here, somebody going to take your food or cross your boundary into your tribe, community? No, we're going to get angry, and nature made it so that we set a firm boundary. We get angry, we say no. So it's important that we have emotions, right? Okay, so they're neither good nor bad. They're here. Now, suppressing them is not good for you. So there's been many studies that show what they do. They do studies like have people watch a really scary movie or like a movie on surgery or something, right? And they tell one group, don't have emotions. Whatever you feel, just suppress it. And they tell the other group, do whatever you need to do. So the one group's screaming and yelling, the other one's all quiet. When they come out of the movie, they take everybody's blood pressure and heart rate, etc. And sure enough, the people that have been suppressing it, their heart rate and blood pressure and stuff stays higher than the ones who were able to let out their emotions. So we don't want to suppress our emotions, right? But we don't want to scream and yell too. So we'll get to that. Now, there's 3 components to an emotion. There's the physical component, right? How it makes you feel in your body. There's the thought part, which is the story about what's happened. And then there's your behavior. So like your reaction or your response. Now, you might be interested to find out that physical component of the emotion is actually due to a chemical release. So let's say somebody cut you off on the freeway and maybe you got scared. And so you feel that you feel that, shaky, all that stuff. It's because chemicals released to say, hey, this is a dangerous situation, do something, right? Although, like, what can you do if somebody cut you off? You're kind of stuck. And then, so this chemical happens, and it actually only stays in your body about 90 seconds, for sure, sometimes less. So so that physical discomfort of the emotion is only 90 seconds long. And you might say, no, I've been angry for much longer than 90 seconds, and I've been, or scared, but I'm going to show you why that happens, right? Because the literal chemical part of the emotion is in and out in around 90 seconds. Okay, so now here's the process of an emotion, right? So something happens, you have a stimulus, or something like, somebody breaks your cup, and say this cup was important to you. It was your aunt bought it for you. You went to Disneyland together, and she has passed, and it was a great reminder of her love for you. So it's an important cup. Yeah. Somebody's somebody breaks it. Okay. So right away, you're going to have a chemical release, right, in your body that's either you're going to feel sad or you're going to feel angry, but these chemicals are going to flood your body. Then, because that's really uncomfortable, we don't like to feel angry, we don't like to feel sad, we really don't try not to feel these feelings. Thoughts start to kick in to help us, right? So thoughts, and thoughts are stories. Oh, that can never be replaced. Those people, the person who broke it wasn't careful, they were goofing off, and so all the stories start, right? And then your behavior, your reaction, you just scream, it's upsetting, right? Okay, so that's the process of an emotion. And our challenge around that as humans, so we all have this challenge, is that, these emotions arise so quickly, right? Like lightning speed, we don't even know. We don't want to suppress them. They're really uncomfortable. So we need to attend to them so that we don't act in harmful ways, like yell at somebody. Maybe it was our little child that broke the cup, and we don't want to scream and yell at them, or, so we do, or you don't want to, like, quit your job and yell at a bunch of customers and your boss, that kind of thing, right? So we have this challenge. So there was a man named Viktor Frankl who was in the concentration camp, unfortunately, but he's a psychologist. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he used his psychology background to just kind of study this whole experience of him in the concentration camp, study people's behavior. It's something that he could do. So he wrote a quote that people use a lot, which is, but he found this out. He understood that this is something about people's behavior. Between stimulus, so the glass breaking, and response, whatever you do, you yell or whatever your response is, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose that response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So depending on what we do with that space in between the stimulus and response, we can choose our response. But there's stuff going on, and we got to be what's mindful of what's happening in that space. So one thing that happens in that space is the physical sensations from that chemical rush, right? And they're very unpleasant, right? Because they were made to be unpleasant so that we would move quick, right? So we can feel those, and then we can also notice, now thoughts are kicking in. We've worked with thoughts, right? And notice, okay, I'm gonna watch those thoughts. I don't have to be part of that story. I don't have to believe that story. I'll bring my attention back to those physical sensations of my emotion, right? Once that 90 seconds, and don't hold me to that perfect time, because you might do 2 or 3 cycles, but once that period of all the emotions have moved out of your body, all the chemicals from the emotion, then we can actually respond, right? We have the power to choose our response. Then our amygdala has connected up with the prefrontal cortex. It's not cut off. And we actually now have a choice, which is really powerful. When we have choice, we have power. It lies our freedom and our growth, as Viktor Frankl says. So what that looks like in that space, right? Being mindful of that space between stimulus and response is we label those sensations as they're happening. So maybe you're angry because the cup broke and you just say, oh, I noticed the heat rising. You can label where the sensations are. Heat is rising in my face. I notice tightness in my chest. My hands want to clench. I feel like jumping around. I notice increased energy, kind of thing. Or if you're anxious, I notice my mouth is dry. I notice that, my legs want to tap. You just notice the sensations in your body, like we did when we did that mindful of the body practice, right? And then we watch for our thoughts, because they're going to come in to try to help us. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. That person shouldn't have picked up that cup. That person shouldn't have cut me off. They're just really insensitive. And we go, oh, remember, I notice I'm having thoughts about what happened, and I'm going to gently say, there they are, they're spinning off, and I'm bringing my attention back to the sensations in my body, no matter how uncomfortable. And so, to the best of your ability, you stay with these uncomfortable sensations of these emotions. If they become overwhelming, and this is important, right? Then you don't have to stay with them. You can actually use your attention again, right? Our attention is everything. You can direct your attention to a place that's soothing. So maybe it is a deep breath. Somebody breaks the cup and you just notice the anger arising. And so you say, and you bring your attention to that sensation of that deep breath, or you feel your feet on the ground. You notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground, right? Something like that. Or you take a walk and you notice the feel of the body moving, right? So if you become overwhelmed, you direct your attention away from those sensations, right? And then come back when it's easier, when the sensations are a little gone and you can be with them better, right? And otherwise, through this whole thing, let's hope that you have compassion for your discomfort. So like we practiced last week, may I be peaceful. May I feel better. I'm so sorry that my cup broke. That was painful. Oh, right? So we have compassion for what's happening. So that's what it's like to be in the middle of the space between the stimulus and the response, to be mindfully there, so that you can allow your body to do that chemical thing without react, and your thoughts to go off without reacting. And by the way, I just wanted to bring up that what makes an emotion last a long time is that you get in the cycle, you get stuck in the cycle. So let's say somebody somebody cuts you off, right? First, you feel scared because that was a close call. So you feel the scared, the chemicals rush, and you feel all that, and it feels bad. It's like, so maybe a minute out of that goes away, but now you feel anger. So new chemicals come, right? Because then the mind kicks in and says that person was insensitive and they almost killed me. And, and then you're telling the story after you're off the freeway. And so what happens is those thoughts keep recycling emotions, which keeps recycling that chemical flood. And so you still feel angry. You're just recycling the emotion over and over. So what we want to do is try to keep the thoughts out of it, or at least keep distance from our thoughts, right? Okay, here's that discomfort of anger rising, and I feel it and I'm staying with it. Now my thoughts are telling me what's wrong with that person that made me angry, but I'm just going to stay with this sensation and care for myself while it's happening. In that way, emotions can move much quicker, right? Because we're just allowing the process of the body to go through without stopping it and getting involved in any way. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I hope that was clear. Like I said, so it's kind of deep, right? There's a lot of stuff to pay attention to. So that's why we practice bringing our attention to different experiences. So when things get rough, we have the skill. Okay, here comes the big, choppy emotions. I know where to bring my attention and how to hold on, that kind of thing. Okay. Okay. So let's try a little bit of practicing mindfulness of emotions. Okay. So I'm going to ask you in this one to get into your mindful posture, which is upright but relaxed. Because it's better, I think, if we're going to feel something uncomfortable, that we kind of have a solid, sturdy foundation, relaxed but not so relaxed. Right? We want to have some firmness, but we're not stiff. We're still relaxed, but we're aware. We're here for ourselves. Okay, and allow your eyes to either close or have a low gaze. And I invite you to take a couple of deep breaths. Settling our attention. Kind of feeling into the sensation of sitting. Okay. So right here, I'd like you to pick any one of the anchors that we've practiced with, that you feel comfortable with, that you've maybe enjoyed even. So it could be the sensation of gravity, that pulling, that weightedness. It could be that you found somewhere on your body that's a soothing place, the palms of your hands, or the sensation of your feet on the ground. It could be the sensation of being held by the chair. It could be your sensation of your breathing in, breathing out, if you enjoyed that. Okay, so let's just take a moment to actually rest our attention on that anchor that you've chosen. And possibly checking in with your body to see if any settling is happening. It's always good to notice if that's happening. Okay, so now I'd like you to bring your attention to actually maybe your chest, your belly, and your face, just for a moment there. Notice how your chest is feeling, how your belly's feeling, and how your face is feeling. It's sort of a baseline, let's say. So now I'm going to ask you to bring to mind something very slight that happened that either irritated you or scared you, or maybe saddened you. Maybe you did lose something kind of important, feel a little bummed about that. Or so don't pick something great and that produces a lot of emotion, a strong emotion. Just something slight. Maybe somebody did cut you off or got in line, or you missed a deadline or something. And as you imagine that, maybe you can name what is the emotion you're feeling. Is it like anger or irritation? disgust, sadness, anxiety, nervousness. And see if you can check in now with your belly, your chest, and your face, and see if anything's changed from before you were picturing this situation versus now. How is it? Are they tighter? Are they warmer? Are they cooler? Is one maybe numb versus the other two? Just what do you notice in terms of sensation? And if you kind of lose your way, you can just bring your mind back to the situation. Maybe somebody wasn't wearing their mask, or, you know, that famous one where people have 11 things in the 10 item line at the grocery store. And can you notice like what's happening in your body as you picture this scenario that gave you a slight emotion? So these sensations that you may be having are from those chemicals, right? That release. And they make you feel a certain way so that you'll do something. Maybe like, hey, you can't have 11 items here. Or, oh, shoot, I lost my favorite baseball cap, or whatever. And notice, you know, to what extent they are uncomfortable, these sensations. And I really want to offer to you that if somehow you've thought of something really irritating or really angering, somebody said something to you, and it's been a long source of upset, and you're feeling more and more upset, you know, you can bring your attention, you can notice, wow, I'm feeling that upset, but you can also bring your attention back to that sensation in the beginning of sitting and being held by the chair, or the gravity. But if you're okay with it and you have that situation in mind, and you can notice, again, the sensations of the emotions happening, and are there any thoughts going with this? Like the person in the grocery line was so insensitive, and they don't know what they're doing, and people are so mean, or, oh, these thoughts, you can say, oh, there's all the thoughts. And gently coming back to the sensation of the emotion. Okay, and for the last minute or so, I invite you to put your hand on your chest and even on your belly if you like, and just send yourself some good wishes, because feeling emotions is no fun, right? So we want to care that we work hard like that, you know? But if we do work hard, we get over that chemical flood, and then move to a place where we can respond from wisdom, from caring. So hand on the chest and belly if you like, and just, you know, I'm sorry that was hard for you. Or I care that you're sad. I care that you felt disrespected. And then feel that care if you can. Okay. So we're going to start to come back now. So just gently move your attention to that sensation of your body sitting. Sitting in the couch or the chair, wherever you are. Noticing your body in time and space. Allowing yourself to kind of notice your environment, noticing the sounds in your room. Maybe noticing my voice a little more. And then as you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Move your body a little bit, looking around. Yeah, and come back to the screen when you're ready. Okay, so that was, if you were able to like pick up emotion and kind of check it out in your body, that's what being mindful of emotions is about. You know, these chemicals, something happens, the chemicals get us, they come fast and we want to react. But if we can slow down and be mindful of what's happening in our body with sensations, with thoughts, we can actually ride out that piece of discomfort until our brain kind of clicks up with our prefrontal cortex, till our amygdala, our survival brain clicks up with the thinking brain, and then we're able to respond better. And again, then you have choice, right? You don't have to run around screaming and yelling. I'm not saying that you do that. I've been there though. So, but now actually you have chance, right? Okay, so thank you. Yeah, see if you can notice when if emotions arise. You know, I do want to tell you one last story. I don't know what time, how long we've been doing this, but you can end it here if you want. But I have one more story. We did this class, and a couple of weeks later, I was walking in a hall, and a student came running down, and she said, "Rita, I got to tell you." She said, "I was getting into a parking place at school, and this other girl wanted to take it. You know, we were like locked in the thing, and the girl was like screaming at me. I could tell her, and she said, somehow I thought about your class." And I said, wow, I'm just going to notice this anger, because she said in the past she was one that would get out and just start screaming at the girl, and she just like noticed all the anger like rise. She was hot, it was hot in her body, and she was tense, and her fists were clenched, and she was just so struck by being curious about it that she almost not forgot to be angry. But you see, the thoughts didn't come in because she was interested in what was happening in her body. And she said, and after a minute, it like just went away. And she said, and I didn't let that girl get to me. You know, she said, I finally pulled in, but even as the girl passed by and she said some words, she said, I was not angry. And it's the first time I've never like blown up at somebody when they've done something like that. So that's an example of how being able to watch these sensations in your body that come from emotions and watching the thoughts, being mindful of those things, using your mindfulness to bring your attention to these things. It's an example of how it can help you, and therefore give you a choice to be maybe the way you want to be, right? Okay, so I'm going to let you go now, and I appreciate your listening. Add any questions to the comments below, and I appreciate you. See you next time.